All right, let's go to Maine, baby. You ready? 3,
awesome.
2.
Ashley Rowe, nice to see you out there. What?
And 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to SIGLERinPLACE, the super happy fun time show where our audio engineer will slather himself in Crisco and jump into a vat of Rice Krispies, and that is how we do. That is how we celebrate. We also celebrate some other things. We're about to get nutty with this business right here. Is nutty as a couple of nerds can get.
It is definitely not Grab Your Nuts Day, though.
It's not Grab Your Nuts Day. Nothing gets us nutty.
Grab a handful of nuts. It's not Grab Your Nuts. It's grab a handful of nuts.
You know what? If you're blessed, then it's both.
Hello.
It's both. Okay, so here we go. Baby girl, you ready to intro the podcast? Because this, of course, will be a podcast.
Yeah,
you guys ready?
I am ready to intro the podcast.
Didn't I fix that? Okay, here we go.
Yeah, I think so. As you guys know, I'm going to do a little explanation and then I'm going to start over because this episode will just drop right in on Sunday to the podcast feed.
Steve says, that is not how I celebrate. I do not celebrate with a vat of Crisco and a bit of Rice Krispies.
Please. So
hey,
I'm about to do that.
Hey,
I'm going to do it.
Hey, Joe.
Before I do the intro, I'm going to tell you absolutely this is such a spoilerific episode. And I'm also going to say after we do the podcast, I want you guys, the podcast intro, because I want you guys aware. We have had several people email us or text us to say, like, love you guys, not joining because I'm not done with the gangster yet. And that's the right answer because there are so many spoilers.
Oh, and if you see people pop in the room, we'll try and keep an eye open. But I don't want to give a spoiler alert 17 times in this podcast. So if you happen to know somebody pops in the chat room and you think they haven't finished it, check because we will. We're opening up the kimono, baby. We're just hiking that bad boy right open. What's up? Ready?
Ruppy, it's really nice to see you. Yes, so I'm about to start the intro.
I'm going to start recording and ready. 3, 2, 1.
This is episode 42 of The Gangster, a podcast by Scott Sigler. We are here today with our very last episode for this podcast, which is our second Q&A episode. There are 2 important things to note for this podcast episode. Number 1, everything you will hear after I finish this sentence may be a spoiler. Be forewarned.
Turn it off.
The second thing I have to tell you
later.
is this is going to come right back into your podcast feed on Sunday. So if you are watching now, you don't necessarily need to listen on Sunday. And if you are listening on Sunday, know that we did this live on our weekly podcast, or weekly live stream, SIGLERinPLACE, which is Wednesday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific time on YouTube.com/Scott Sigler. Twitch.tv/Scott Sigler and Facebook.com/Scott Sigler. So if you'd like to join us there, we do a lot of chatting and interacting and answering questions all year long until the pandemic
It's a good time.
It's a good time. So come on and join us. Hey, Scott Sigler, how are you?
I'm doing very good. Classic Kush wants me to do a werewolf book. That might happen. All of you join later and get shout out by name. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah. This will be a 90-minute podcast.
It will be a 90-minute podcast. It'll be a 90-minute live stream, you guys. So hang in with us if you like. If not, you can catch up on Sunday.
We are going to milk
have to go to bed.
every minute of the 90 minutes as if it's Fokker's father-in-law. So I'm watching you, is what I'm watching you. All right, let's get into it. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, here's what's coming up in this episode, Gangster Q&A. More important than that, the Stone Wolves is out, motherfucker. I'll take the dollar fine, motherfucker. Boom, what's that? Lean over, baby. Look at that beauty.
So
the cover done by L.A. Draws, audiobook engineered by Steve the Iceberg, Ricky Berg.
Oh my goodness, you guys. This is such a beautiful cover, and the engineering, you will hear a lot of this engineering if you have purchased this book, which is available at audible.com right now. The beautiful work that Steve the Iceberg, Ricky Berg did. Steve and I are both convinced this was, I think, Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, that this was our favorite audiobook to work on, podcast to work on. This is a spectacular story. Mm-hmm. I think we at Empty Set and Steve, feel free to disagree if you do. I think we have gotten Iceberg and Scott and I, and also John Biscar, we've kind of finally found our groove. It's only been a decade. That's all right. That's all right. We got it. So it's really wonderful. It's available right now at audible.com, and it's available at Amazon.com. A lot of you, I'll start off with these questions. A lot of people will ask, is it going to be on Nook? Is it going to be everywhere else? And the answer is, it will be worldwide on those two platforms for sure. And And then we're working on a couple of things about our audiobooks and everything, our ebooks and audiobooks and stuff. So we won't have it there for a few weeks for anywhere else but Audible and Amazon. And that's not an exclusive thing yet, but if you're wondering about
couple of things real
whatever.
quick. That, as I showed, that is The Stone Wolves, written by Scott Sigler and J.C. Hutchins, who will be on our show on Wednesday, October 6th, for a live interview about the process of writing that book with this big bald head, and it's going to be great. And we have reason to celebrate, double reason to celebrate. The book went live about 5 o'clock last night. The audiobook did. And you guys jumped on it so quick. Surprise, surprise. We were #1 new release in space opera. Not #1 in sci-fi, but #1 in space opera, which is kind of friggin' dope. So we,
What
beat
is
out
that
Rogue
second?
Squadron.
Have you guys ever heard of that second book?
Star Wars. It's a werewolf story.
It is.
Star Wares.
Yeah.
Star Wares.
They're
yes.
werewolves who are also tinkerers and peddlers. Yeah.
So, and of course, you know how we do here at Empty Set, how we roll. Since we have stuff to celebrate, and we're doubly celebrating because you guys came through like gangbusters for us, it's champagne time! Champagne time!
So if you are unfamiliar with the Sigler celebrations, I know anybody who's been in Sigler-in-Place for a while.
Rob Tinnerella knows this in the Sigler world. When you win, you celebrate. That's how we do in the Sigler household. Go.
Yeah, and if you've ever been to a Sigler Fest, we celebrate the wins, and the wins are literally anything. At Sigler Fest, we had somebody who was really proud one year that they paid all their bills on time. And you know what? If you've never done that and you're really proud of yourself, that's exactly what we're celebrating. Because come on now, you guys, it's been 18 months. You got a lot going on that you celebrate.
Drink
There we
that
go.
rum, Steve Rickyberg. Steve Rickyberg, you have earned the right to
do.
celebrate. You are a beast. You are a stone wolf. I'm very impressed.
So
Great work.
We'll move on to questions very shortly, but we want to make sure that you guys know the Stone Wolves is available in audiobook and ebook. And right now it's only audio and book and ebook because technically speaking, thank you, this 144,000 word story qualifies as a GFL novella. It's so crazy.
It's big like a pickle.
Yeah.
Hold on.
And we do that because, because novellas in the GFL timeline. Cheers, my love. Congratulations. Novellas in the GFL timeline are non-primary stories. They are stories that are not about Quentin and the Krakens. And technically speaking, this is not about Quentin and the Krakens, even if it's a novel-sized novella. So you guys still get it.
Technically speaking.
Yeah, you get the Kindle book for $4.99.
$4.99 for 519 pages. We're not going to stay in business. These prices are
too low.
They're too low, but we got to move out content.
Move it.
You got a lot of potential as a hype man for a commercial.
I did commercial ads in college.
Oh, if we go into the used car business, you and I are going to make a bucket load of money for the buckets that we sell. There
Chris
it is.
McWhite, you know I love you, but I have to do that. Chris added just now in the chat room, in my best Georgia accent, hush and take my money.
Oh, goodness gracious.
I love it.
So there it is. It is up on Audible. It is up on Amazon. And on Audible, we already have one go-go grocery getter. Matt P. already got it. The thing went live at 5 o'clock last night. I'm going to guess Matt P. runs a meth factory and did all the meth, stayed up, listened to the book, made some great meth. Like, don't get me wrong. Matt P. meth is the meth that you want to have when you take a pee. That's my advertising slogan. We already got some 1 5-star review. As always, you guys, when you finish this bad boy, shake thine hiney over to Audible, to Amazon, leave that review, put in start up, leave a review. And if you snagged the Rookie when that was on sale last week, we're now up to 950 reviews for the Rookie on Audible. Still want to get that to 1,000. So get that done. Excellent work, everybody. Everybody wins.
Couple things from the chat room. Number one, J.R. Murdoch says Cooley also can't write a novel. He's talking about The Rider, co-written by Scott Sigler and Paul E. Cooley. And that one came in a little over 70,000 words. Also not a novella, but we're calling it a novella. And JR, I sent out your covers. I'm not sure if you got them, but I sent them to you. And the other thing I wanted to mention is my brother Jude is in the chat room. I love you very much. I'm glad you're safe after Ida and all that stuff. And I'm so sorry we didn't connect chatting this weekend, but I'm going to do that soon.
Maria asked me a math question, and since I do all the math in this company, because my partner, my partner can't be trusted for math. Was it $4.99, sweetheart? Is that how much the book is? $4.99, 4.9. Wait, shoot. So that's 519 divided by 4.99. It's not $104 a page. I do all the math in this house.
He does all the math.
Divided
Yay!
by
Now you know why we're
5.19.
always overbooked.
Maria, this week only, it's less than 1 cent per page. 0.0096 cents per page. That's the kind of entertainment we give you. We're going insane. Oops. All right, so now I think that covers us. We got a lot, speaking of coverage, we got a lot of sticky stuff to get through tonight.
Yeah, but first we want to touch base. A couple things. So there is every first Saturday of the month, our obviously lovely good friend Steve Rickyberg, who we love all the time, but we're very excited about today because he got the Stonewalls approved in five business days, you guys. It's unreal. That's unheard of at Audible. Unheard of. And he did it. Unheard of. Super, super happy about that. He hosts every first Saturday of the month during the pandemic. He hosts this gigantic long happy hour. And this time it is on, October 2nd. And he starts at 4 p.m. Pacific time and he goes until 11 p.m. Pacific time. It's a Zoom. If you go and search Sigler Junkie Happy Hour on Facebook, you can have all the contact details. You can join. We joined last month, or this month, I guess, and it was super fun. And we're going to try to join somewhat in the future when we can. But this coming one, we're not going to be at because we're going to be shipping the Gangster, which is arriving tomorrow afternoon to San Diego. And we're going to actually, we normally get 2 physical copies. Now we live in the same address, but we used to each of us would get a physical copy of the book before they shipped it out from the warehouse, which they did this time. And because it's COVID and because it's a pandemic and because it was Ida, our stuff is somewhere lost in Ohio. So we will also see it for the first time when it arrives tomorrow to San Diego.
And this is something we should have got out before we recorded the podcast, but I forgot, so we're going to do it anyways. Coming up this Friday on the live stream, this is Monster of the Week. I could not be more delighted by this. This is going to be so much fun for me. Our guest this week is Lucky Yates, who plays Krieger on Archer. We've got Krieger himself in the house. Lucky Yates is a wonderful human being, a bizarre dude, and he is going to, I guarantee you will be entertained. We're going to be talking about Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, did I mention that one of the best TV shows of all time, the character named Krieger, is going to be on our show? It's just like the good old days. I am so excited. I'm at least a 3/4 chub right now, probably a full chub by the time the show comes around.
Definitely.
Who can say? But you guys should absolutely join us Friday, September 10th, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. If you guys are listening to this at home every Friday at twitch.tv/ScottSigler, youtube.com/ScottSigler, facebook.com/ScottSigler, we have a Fancy Pants person on, and we talk about a monster, famous monster from movies or TV. It's Monster of the Week. Lasts about half hour. It's a goddamn good time. We're really looking forward to it.
So, couple of more housekeeping things. I will say one more time now that we're live and more people have joined. This whole podcast is spoilerific, so be warned about that. And 2, next Wednesday, so this is Wednesday, we do a Sigler in Place normally every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. We won't have one next week because we will be shipping the hardcover Gangsters out. And we do, do you want to tell them? You want to tell them what we're going to do?
I'll tell them this one.
Yeah.
And also, Story Smack will return on October 9th, Saturday, October 9th. We're talking about the original Ghostbusters movie. Rob Otto will be back. It's been a long time since you guys saw him. That's Saturday, October, what? What did I say?
You said September 10th, but apparently it's October something.
Did I screw up the graphic?
I don't know.
Okay, hold on real quick. Damn it.
10th, yeah.
I'll fix that. I haven't shared that yet. I got it. Can you remind me to fix that?
I will.
It's queued up to be shared. I need to fix that. Thank you very much in the chat room. Rob Otto will be back. Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters. We're going to talk with Vangman and the boys. Saturday, October 9th, 2021. I screwed that up too. Is it 2 p.m. Pacific time?
It is normally at 2 to 4 Pacific.
Oh, 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern.
5 p.m.
Sorry,
Eastern.
guys. I do all the math in this company. And then that's all I'm going to say about that. That will be fun. That will be back. Let's get down to business. You guys have been very patient. It is time to talk about the Gangster. Anything else, sweetheart?
One tiny little thing. So because we are not going to be doing a Story Smack next week, and we are not going to be doing Story Smack the second Saturday of every month, next month, and we're not, right? Or is it this month that we're not doing it? I don't know.
This
we're not
month
doing a
we're not
Story
doing
Smack, and we're not doing a Sigler in Place next week. We will be doing a handful of live streaming from the warehouse where we're shipping the books. We have a great good friend. Her name is Allison. She's one of my very best friends in the universe, and she has a warehouse where she ships dog and pet supplies. Her business ships dog and pet supplies, and she's loaning that space to us gratis to ship this book out. And it's
Very helpful.
it's
So
after
helpful.
we had to leave the Lair of Doom and everything is shut down due to COVID, it's impossible to overstate how wonderful that is. So we won't have that. We won't have a Sigler in Place next week, but you'll see us a lot on the internet.
Okay. Let's get
Are
it, ladies
you
and gentlemen.
ready
Here
to
we
rumble?
go. The Gangster Q&A. We've got 1 hour and 15 minutes left. We're going to try and get through everything. I know we have one audio question, which I queued up, but I haven't listened to yet.
You want to do that one now?
Pardon me. Yeah, let's just get
Why not
that
kick it off
bad
that
boy
way?
out of the way. So we will do the best we can with the audio here, and that is, ready? Here we go.
Hey Scott, first of all, let me say, did not expect the turn for Quentin taking over the entirety of the franchise. That was out of left field and hilarious, made me laugh out loud. But now for the question.
Yep.
Did Quentin not kill Greedock the Splithead? If this transformation resulted in a new sentient being born, isn't giving the Gibbojawans the same thing as putting a bullet into his head? And if that's the case, did Quentin not fail in his moral task that he assigned to himself? He did kill his enemy. Now, you could argue.
Pause.
Love you, Genelia.
Generally, goodbye.
Thanks for
Remember,
leaving
we
with
have warned
spoilers. It's very good.
repeatedly about spoilers. So if you've not finished The Gangster, turn this shit off right now. Come back after. Also, if you've not finished The Gangster, pause The Gangster and then go listen to Stonewolves, then listen to The Gangster. That is preferable. Let's continue the question.
That he did not know the Gibbojawans would kill the sentient, even if the transformation occurred. So, this is less morally culpable, maybe. So it goes down from murder to manslaughter or cliff slaughter, whatever the equivalent would be in this galaxy.
Sentient
But
slaughter.
He still killed the guy. I would love to hear your thoughts. Thanks.
Okay, so the sequential hermaphroditism, did I pronounce that right? Yes.
Yep.
That is when a living creature of one gender transforms into another gender. It's in clownfish. It's in look up clownfish on YouTube, man. That's just an insane life cycle, which is largely where I got the inspiration for this many years ago. So if a male clownfish ascends to the hierarchy of their pod, I don't know what, school of fish, whatever. They hang out in coral. They're crazy. They cover themselves in Crisco and Rice Krispies. Who
I think
knows?
it's called a car, right? A car of clownfish. Sorry. Go on. Be very erudite.
I was
and,
this
and
close to saying.
authory.
I was this close. Is it called a car? That's really neat. Didn't see that coming up. Okay, so if the male clownfish, the female clownfish dies, and out of the 3 or 4 male clownfish, one of them ascends to the female position and sort of runs the car. Is that male clownfish dead, or is that male clownfish transformed into something else, but is still essentially the same living biological creature? So I disagree. Quentin did not murder Greedock the Splithead. Greedock the Splithead has basically cocooned up like a caterpillar and become a beautiful, incredibly hideous, very terrifying butterfly.
So probably smells like flowers.
You wouldn't say that. I don't think anyone would say that a caterpillar commits suicide when the caterpillar becomes a moth.
Well, and I'll only say this one more time. Spoilers. The transformation, the sentient that transforms has Greedock's memories and experience.
Yes,
Just
that-
not the same take on all of that.
It's not. It's very similar to, let's say, let's go back to when you were like 7, and someone you thought someone took your Transformer toy, and that is grounds for war and murder at that age. And then 40 years down the road, you look back like, did I have a Transformer toy? I guess I did have. I think Bobby's still there. Well, no big deal. The prism through which you look at life changes dramatically as you age, And I'm sure the other thing, although I've never had children, I'm sure it's very comparable to having children and then possibly having grandchildren. Those are phases of life at which your outlook changes dramatically. Sure. It's very similar to what's going on with Greedock and the Sunshine.
Yeah, and I will say a couple comments. G on YouTube, whoever you are, he says, A isn't a father, but she makes great dad jokes. She's a faux pas. All the points to you, my friend. That was lovely.
Way to go, G. Way to go, G. All right, baby.
Also, we do have a very quick question, what the Bible of the Church of Siglerism would be called. And I'm asking that because
Three-quarter
it's
chub.
Bruce
I believe that's the three-quarter.
McLaughlin's birthday soon. And he's interested.
What would throw us off. Throw us a choice one. No, the Siglernomicon? No. Now come on, if it's the Bible of the Church of Siglerism, what would the Siglerites call that? I may have to give that some thought.
Yeah.
But for now,
I'm not sure if we're going to get to it before you need it. But
for now, we're going to call it the leather-bound, girthy three-quarter chub. That's what we're going to call it. Okay. Next question.
All righty,
why
here we go.
Turn on a fan.
That sounds good. Let me pick a longer one. Okay, so Nicholas Burke, you sent a whole bunch of questions, so I'll ask a few. In the GFL, is there a scientific explanation for why the skin color of humans like Don Pine on some planets is different?
Yes.
In the story, it is a way to confront Quentin's racial and speciesist upbringing, but I can't figure out if the science is hand wavy or not.
It's a little hand wavy, but the general premise is giving pigmentation to human skin so that the integument provides better resistance to the natural radiation from whatever the sun is in that system. So, in general, if it's a red star, that's going to wind up white. If it's a blue star, they're going to wind up blue. That's where it gets a little bit hand wavy with the description. I'm not going to get into all of the wavelength analysis and the chromosomal damage and the cellular damage and all that. But basically, if you are from a system with a yellow sun, you get the panoply of colors that we have here. If you are from a system with a red sun, you get the all white. And then you can also have a couple of the different skins here so that they won't wind up with rampant skin cancer and ulcers. And if it is a blue star, you get the blue skin. That's it in a nutshell. That's as deep as it will go.
Some of the suggestions for Bible include the Sigbal. I don't know how to say that. The Sigbal.
Where do you see that? Whoops, sorry. Chat. I got excited. Hold on.
And then Jude also says the Brodex, which kills me.
I like the Brodex.
And I do also like the Book of Sigler. I do like.
I like John Viscar. The Bible of Siglerism is the Torah. Sure.
Well,
Mazel tov.
Torah with a empty set
Oh, there you go. Mazel tov.
Okay. All right. Are you ready for more?
Yes. Tinderellis is just called the Book of Sigler and be done with it. All right, let's go, baby. What do we got?
Dan Russell asks, if you woke up tomorrow and had to spend a week as a character from one of your books, who would it be?
Pookie Chang.
That's what I thought you would say, but I also thought there might be a little bit of business, a little bit of want for business.
Sean Dyer, the playbook.
Very good.
Very good. As long as there isn't some chachi 28 to 35-year-old bro who's written a book on how to mac on chicks.
Oh,
it's called The Playbook. Then yes, it will be The Playbook. But those guys, oh my God, they're so vile. All right, let's go.
All righty. Godfrey Lee asks, is Obelisk based on a real game? If not, what are some of the rules for it?
Can we get Chris McWhite's question here after this one?
Sure, of course.
The rules for Obelisk, I've always kind of hoped that someone might, a creative game person might try and come up with it. The basic premise of it is it's a chess-like game, perhaps with a little hint of Risk or a little bit of Chinese checkers in there, which are all, kind of similar type thing. But the general elements of it are you are trying to build up towers. The higher you build it, you have to do something to get another layer onto your checker piece. So if you got checker, then you got a king, it just keeps stacking up. I don't know if you guys, when you were kids, played checkers with Super King and Emperor. So that was 4 high. I don't remember what the rules were. Eventually, I know when you got to 5 high, you just pick up the whole stack and throw it at your buddy's face, and he had to sit there and bleed. That was the rules. That's what we did in Sheboygan.
Bleed from checkers? Bleed?
Oh, have you never seen little boys play? Jeez, they throw
not really
stuff
sure
in each other's face.
I'm not really sure what's happening with my neck when I say that, but come on now, bleed.
So
What is that?
so that's the premise, but there have to be some kind of modifiers. The higher you build your tower, I believe, the more defensive abilities it has, but the movement and the offensive capabilities are probably reduced. So that's about all I've got for Obelisk so far. It's really just a vehicle to show that Quentin's strategic vision isn't always limited to the lines of power, and that is something that will definitely come into play in Book 8. Spoiler 1, sorry. Good. All right.
That wasn't me, Chris.
I don't know what happened. I don't know. So give me
Chris McWhite asks, gender reassignment is thorny in real life. Forced is really thorny. What might the purist nations take on Q's choice be?
Okay, that's an easy one for me because, first of all, the purist nation is adamant that it is one human man and one human woman. There is zero margin for error there. Any homosexuality is definitely shoved into the shadows. We're talking 1940 Salt Lake City, Utah. And I'm just throwing that out there. I don't really know that they're particularly homophobic culture, but it is more. Let's go 1950s Russia. It is not USSR. Excuse me. It is not something that is tolerated. And also, there are literal laws against non-human beings being on the soil of a purist nation planet. Buddhist City is providing an exemption because without that foreign capital and that trade coming in, the purist nation would be even more repressed and poor than it is right now. So their answer would be kill them. This purist nation, just stone them with stones until dead. That's it.
But also let them go to the outpost Buddhist City and let us take their money.
Yeah.
Which is, analogous to here.
You may buy forgiveness. What's that called back in the old days of the medieval church? A penitent, not a penance. You could sin and then you could hand it okay, I sinned. How about I leave this bag of gold right here? Have I sinned? And they'd be like, sin? What are you talking about? There's
I'm not
no
sure
sin.
that has gone, that went away in the Middle Ages.
No,
I think that's
but
here
it was
today.
it was more pronounced in the Middle Ages. Anybody in the chat room knows what that indulgence is? Thank you, Sean. All right, so that's it. Next question, babe.
All righty. Barbara Youngbauer, who...
Dispensation, thank you, Bodie.
Holy cats is an OJ. We love you. Thank you for the email. She says, good morning, longtime junkie, first-time caller. I'm at work listening to the first Q&A for the Gangster because Mondays are my Sigler podcast day. Here's my question. Is the crypt, the ship, not the book, an Abernessian ship?
Crypt. Okay, let me think about that. Oh, hold on, sweetie. We're chug-a-lugging, guys, so things get friggin' nutty here. Those of you listening at home, we're pouring champagne like it's going out of style.
We celebrate the wins.
Is it an Abernessian ship? Is the crypt an Abernessian ship? No. I kind of had to think through all of the plot lines and all the red herrings. And if you believe what I'm saying, I say no, but also I lie for a living, so take that in stride.
All righty.
Brian Gregory says he made it for the chugging. That's a loaded
nice
phrase.
to see you.
Hey, I made it for the chugging. Okay, also spoiler central. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Chris Grawl, I said it. A didn't say it.
So,
Chris Grawl, cheers.
this is a huge one, and I'm reading the whole thing, but you got to answer fast. Actually, I
Hit it.
need you to make sure that's live, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, Ollie, I know you're in the chat room, so I'm reading your question. He hasn't heard it. We are doing the short list of names for our baby girl due in December. As Quentin and Rebecca are also having a baby girl, we would like to add their baby's name to our baby's name
Lord.
short list. However, the next book will not be out until after our baby arrives. Can you let us know her name early? I'm going to jump in here and say, if you don't want to answer that question live, but you are willing to answer that question for Ollie, I'll allow it. I mean, privately for Ollie, I'll allow it. Let me finish the rest of it. He says, Rebecca is already on our short list, which is great.
Oh, this is first name, not a last name?
Yeah.
Okay.
We would also really love if our baby girl's first book was one of Scott's, and as most of his books are not suitable for babies, would it be possible for Sparkle Horse to finally be written, even if it's just a novella, which we know today is not necessarily short.
Real quick. Sean Dyer in the chat room has said, but Scott, you wore a shirt that said reliable narrator that time. How can I trust that shirt now? That's a very good point. Also, smart ass, go to the front of the class.
Absolutely.
And put the ball and jacks away, Sean. Sit in the front. Can you just put your hands on the desk? Put your hands on the desk.
I feel like he should get to put his hand into the swear jar.
He should get
to the golden puke bucket and grab out.
Throwing out some monies. I'm a reliable narrator in that everything you read in a book, you will never read 100 pages of, say, a villain where the villain doesn't think any villainous thoughts. You will never read about a character who's trying to pull the wool over the Star Empire's eyes, but never has a thought where, like, I'm just not going to think any thoughts about pulling the wool over the... Because the unreliable narrator, the point of that is to make you, the reader, believe your only eyes and ears to a world is thing A, and it turns out to be thing B. To me, it is not a clever device at all because the reader has no possible way of knowing that it's a fake thing. So reliable narrator means you will not experience that in my books. As far as baby names, yep.
So that's you're not going to name live the
No. Let's see. Still, it's a work in progress. Jungblatten, Lipschitz, Barnes, Montaigne. That's a hyphen, Barnes, Montaigne. Oh. So Jungblatten, Lipschitz. Jungblatten, Lipschitz is the middle name. Jungblatten is the first name.
So, interestingly, I read this question because I'm so excited for you and your wife, Ollie, but also because I thought for sure he would suggest Scott because he does that every chance he gets if he meets a pregnant human being.
Yeah. Call her Scott Sigler. One word. That is her first name. And she will go far in life, I assure you.
Oh, I love it. Okay. Shall we move on?
Yep.
All righty. So Randy Baril asks, how do Virak and Masal know so much about care and needs of the new queens specifically and Gibbeljuants generally? Mm-hmm. Do all workers and warriors have this knowledge? Mm-hmm. Is it locked in at a genetic level? If so, how can the leaders have no clue? If not, how could they have been so prepared?
I'm not sure what he means by no clue.
I think because, okay, Chris Grohl, you win. It's sort of a spoiler to say this, but Greedock doesn't see it coming.
No, Greedock doesn't see it coming. And okay, let's talk about two things at once. Number one, this shit's illegal as all get out. Illegal as hell. And it is so illegal, and it is especially illegal for a non-Quith to possess this substance to the point where they will be executed on sight if they are caught in possession of this substance in certain areas of the Quith culture. Also, Quith warriors and Quith workers and Quith leaders can potentially be executed on sight for possession of this material. Quith leaders get a lot more flexibility. They get a chance to prove their innocence. But if you are a warrior carrying around a vial of Gibbeljuants, you're done. You're toast. It's over. They put a bullet in your head. No lawyer, no trial. It's over. It's a very brutal aspect of their culture. So, and because of that, no one expects the Roman Inquisition. That is part because it is so rare, so hard to obtain. And it is so illegal to the point of capital punishment, it's just not seen very often. The human equivalent would be, you may be in a business rivalry with a rival firm. Say you both have cleaning companies and you've been running ads against each other. Let's say they're political rivals. Your political rivals, you run all these horrible ads against each other. You're lying your butt off all over the place. And then a political rival B goes to political rivals A's house at 3:00 in the morning and murders his 3 children with a hammer. Don't see that coming. It doesn't cross your mind that you need to protect yourself against your political opponent killing your children with a hammer. So that is why he didn't see it coming. And also remember, Quentin didn't obtain this himself. Somebody else obtained it and thrust it upon Quentin. Mm-hmm. So Greedock was very right not to suspect it because Quentin didn't even know what the hell it was until it showed up on his doorstep. Yeah.
So now I have a couple questions.
Okay. Hold that. And then the other answer to that question is it is taught these laws and this process and these cultures are taught to every Quith as soon as they enter primary school. Every Quith knows the rules. It is a genetic impetus that is further reinforced by schooling and culture and tradition. Go ahead, babe.
So I have a couple, 2-3 things to say. One, I always think of this as akin to, you guys may remember this, sometime in the last 10 years or something, there was a Russian guy who was at the Millennium Hotel in London and had high tea, and then he died 3 days later of polonium poisoning, and to this day nobody knows where it came from. It's one of those things that is so wildly aggressive inside your body, like polonium is in a human being, that there's just no stopping it once it starts. The second thing I want to say is I don't know that we ever find out where it comes from so far, right? Several people are asking, what is it? How is it made? Where did it come from?
It is. I will not get into details. I have the life cycle all figured out, but it's no longer germane to the plot because we will not see this device again. But it is it's really complicated. Here we go. Simple. It is a hormone that can only be secreted by certain females. It is very similar to royal jelly in that regard. So it is in the evolution of the quith, the point of it is when a quith female realizes she is near the end of her time, she will secrete this substance in order to make another quith, one of her sequential hermaphrodite subordinates. Did I just say that? Wow, I sound smart.
You did.
One of my sequential hermaphrodite, and I screwed it up, sequential hermaphrodite subordinates can be elevated to then continue on the lineage and protect the tribe. Now, that's the primitive growth of this species. Once they attain sentience, develop the written word, develop technology, and start to get into capitalism and commerce and power struggles, all of that changes. The biology hasn't changed. Just like women produce offspring, that hasn't changed in the human race, but the accoutrements and the culture around women producing offspring has changed a significant amount because of all the new things that we got.
Great. I have a third question, just for clarity. If, say, in this particular scenario, when Masal or Virak sees that vial, if they took it away from a human to bring it to someone safe, would they still get killed?
It's very, very possible.
Yeah,
but
I figured that was the answer, and that's an important thing to note. It's a risk that it's there at all. And it's a risk and a crappy thing that Quentin does that to the Quith.
The Quith are the most human-like culture, but they also have this very alien element to them, which is self-preservation and self-identification are not as strong in Quith workers and Quith warriors as they are in every human that is alive today. It doesn't mean they're pushovers. It doesn't mean they want to kill themselves or they'll die if they're told to die. It just means it's a much more feudal caste-based system based somewhat on medieval Japanese cultures. So they have that going. And the Sklorna, of course, are completely alien from the perspective of just being batshit crazy, but also the fact that cannibalism's no big deal to them. Whatever. Yeah. Oh, we got too many population? Easy. Kill these ones, feed these ones, problem solved. And in no point do they think that is a wrong or a bad thing. That is just the way things are. The Quith culture, maybe look at a vial of Gibbeljawants and just like, well, that's bad. And they just walk away. It doesn't occur to them to do something about this problem unless it falls into a particular set of stimuli and circumstance.
So John Vizcar is in the chat room. John Vizcar, if you are listening on the podcast, is our continuity czar. He is also a great good friend of Scott's, great good friend of mine, does so much work to help us keep the Siglerverse straight as Scott writes the books. He says the fact that it is a hormone secreted by female Quith is revealed in the chapter The Hidden Queens in the Gangster. So if you haven't read that yet, you'll see that then.
No, wait, John, it's The Hidden Queens is in the Gangster, but I think that text of The Hidden Queens is actually in an earlier book.
I think so,
I think
too.
It may be in the All Pro, as a matter of fact.
I think so too, but it matters here.
Yeah.
So Andrea Miner asks, this is a related but different question.
Hit me.
It was my impression that a Quith queen's mate, along with inheriting all of her worldly wealth and being responsible for all of her care, also gets to father her future children. Now that Quentin is Gridoka's protector, how does she breed? I have an image in my head of Quentin having an interview with potential fathers.
Oh, I thought you had an image of Quentin getting up all on that spidery business.
Just having to interview potential fathers.
That is a negative 4-quarter chub right there, all the way down, no problem. I got upset. I lost my point. Oh, so here's the crazy thing about the Quith culture. So a female cannot own anything. Can't own anything at all. That all must be owned by the male, except it's not the male, it's the males, plural. A female Quyth who can own nothing unto herself is allowed to have as many mates as she wishes. So she has her own harem. So she can't own anything, can't technically buy anything of her own, can't own any possessions.
But she can get that.
If she wants to have 7 to 10 little tiny Quyth leaders going to town in the business, that's her business. She gets to decide who gets to get all up in her spidery goodness. And the more mates and husbands that she procures, the richer that she is. So it's a very, very, very complicated culture. And you can get 3 husbands in one harem who will go to war with each other if she can't control them. So they're controlling her. She's controlling them. It's very Elizabethan. It's nuts. Next question.
My dear Madeline Ciccarelli
Thank you.
asked this
Good job,
question.
Nelson. Yep.
She asks, I'd like to know how each character and species has a unique voice. Most of the alien voices have a filter on them, so I would love to know what they sound like without the filter. So you guys, should we?
I've been warned about this. I haven't heard this yet, but I was forced to prepare it.
Technically speaking, nobody was forced. Ricky Berg, once
I was
again, the
forced
iceberg.
In a perfect reality.
God
damn it.
That's perfect.
In a perfect
God damn it.
Whoa. In a pinch hitting moment, and now you see how Empty Set works on the inside. Pulling back the curtain. Because we were preparing for this episode, and we finished the Stone Wolves, and we finished the Gangster, and Ricky Berg had so much to do with that. My man, the Iceberg, put together a Gangster audiobook blooper reel. So we're going to listen to it. We haven't heard it.
Okay, here we go. And I think I deleted the name of it, but this should work. Here we go.
In a perfect reality. God damn it.
I'm pausing it. Yes, that was me having my phone in my pocket while recording a professional grade audiobook and apparently having to get an alert from ESPN.
After I said, you sure you don't have your phone in your pocket?
And I said, shut up, woman. I know what's up. I'm a professional.
I do not.
I've been doing this for 20 years, woman. Back off. Ready? Here we go.
My long dangly cord got in the way. You know how it goes. You heard that, Steve? I'm doing a whole lot of drugs.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait, I'm
Well,
in
now,
this
Steve,
one.
I've confessed to you I'm doing a whole lot of drugs. Which I'm sure Steve's not at all surprised.
Oh, Lord.
I scared the shit out of me.
I can't believe you can hear
There's
me.
someone in the booth with me. Ooh, I'm literally sweating from the forehead.
Ooh, it's a big forehead.
Have you heard of a guild splinter group called the Vermada? No, it sounded like fucking Trump. Taking off my sweatshirt. I've had enough.
Did I say throw it on the ground?
Okay, here we go.
Thanks, man.
Tier 3 players in a backwater system that didn't have the same medical technology readily available to the League of Shit. Becca blinked. Triple? That's what he said. That's what he said.
Sorry, I'm pausing it. That helicopter is not in the audiobook file.
Oh, okay.
It's
I
outside.
wasn't sure.
Yeah, you never know. That's how good our audio is. You can't tell if it's real life or not.
Also, while we're waiting for
Joe
that,
Carlson-
Joe Carlson says it's not a 4-head, it's a 6-head.
I've been going by 5-head for a while, but I guess now that I shave it, I guess technically it is a 6-head. Yes, I will accept this.
Ooh, it's sexy.
I will accept this this punishment. Here we go.
League of shit.
All right, I'm going to do those 2 lines again, Steve. Sorry, buddy. I'm dying in here, dude. Don't like the writing. Removal surgery requires a long recovery, Reed said. The CMR allowed Sandoval to wait until after the Galaxy Bowl, so there would be no interpretation. God damn it. Fuck this fucking bullshit. That's terrible.
Every
writing.
day.
Christ.
Every recording day.
Damn it. Off to a rough start this morning. Miss Montaigne, please. That doesn't make any fucking sense at all.
Did you pause it? Oh, okay. So you guys.
Oh, my face hurts. This is why the audiobook read is supposed to be the last edit in a book that I narrate, because holy shit. I forgot. I paused it for another reason. I forgot what I was going to say.
And here's the thing. Steve has chosen the best. This audiobook is huge, you guys. Like 17 hours long or something, right?
It's turgid.
And he has chosen the best bloopers, meaning there are a whole bunch where he's just like, and just like they're not funny. So he's chosen the best ones.
Yeah.
Let's do more.
Okay, here we go. Reality. God damn it.
Oh, you scooted up. You scooted.
Oh, I did.
You did.
Shoot, I'm sorry about that, guys.
There you go. Right there. A little back.
Miss Montaigne, please.
Perfect.
That doesn't make any fucking sense at all. There we go. Quentin scanned the area. Scan the area. Quentin scanned the room. No windows, no other door. Fuck. Well, he didn't say he didn't like it, so clearly it's fine with him. Lombardi's ancient writings define... Oh, fuck me. I do not pay you. Greedock took a shot at some good stuff. Fuck, who wrote this fucking shit? Jesus Christ.
Very interesting.
Greedock said.
But from where did the
Oh, shit, I messed it up.
Why'd you do that? Why'd you do
Because I was
that?
going to pause it. I
Oh,
thought that would
man.
pause it. What I wanted to say is...
One sec.
There you go. There it is, yeah. Sorry, babe.
Hold on. Wait. Hold that thought. Greedock took a shot at some good stuff. Okay, go ahead, baby.
What I love,
It works
what
better,
I love so
Steve.
much about that is Steve put the Greedock filter on that so you could hear how funny it is that he screwed up. And he hasn't done that in the previous blooper reels, and it's perfection, even though it doesn't really answer Madeline's questions. And also, Sean Dyer points out that no windows and no doors, it's quite a difficult room to get into.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Also, we had some strange person in the chat room for YouTube. I think everybody can see it. But fortunately, Restream.io offers us the opportunity to block douchebags. So we blocked that douchebag, and now we're moving on. Here we go. Next one, babe. Ready? Mm-hmm. Fuck, who wrote this fucking shit? Jesus Christ.
Very interesting.
Greedock said.
But from where did the
I don't know. Daz Vidali. Okay. I gotta quit picking words I can't pronounce. I'm holding an imaginary T, by the way. Just where I'm sitting my butt. Hey, we're going to have some tea, are we? What? Some tea. That'll be very funny. People will laugh.
That is not
People
how
do it
any of
very
that
funny, I
works.
What the fuck he said his eyes on those means? I have no idea. Just delete that. Steve, we're listening to a plane.
We listen to a
Sadly,
lot
by
of
the
planes.
time you get to this edit, it won't matter anymore because we'll be done. Steve, we're waiting on a plane. it's like a crime movie. We're waiting on a plane. Sooner or later, that plane's going to take off and then we're out of here. But it's a fucking loud plane. You know what I'm saying? Fucking loud. It should run out of fuel soon.
Debrielle Carr, none
God,
at
that's
all
so
drinking.
If we set this up so that he thinks he's got... God fucking damn it. Fuck! I'm going to push through this fucking thing. Fuck it. There's another goddamn glanced. Fuck, I hate this shit. Ooh, that's weird. What does that mean? Quentin would make sure she got her money. Fuck me. God damn it. Quentin looked up again. Is that another plane? This is great. Holy shit. He missed her so much. When he held her in his arms again, fuck me. God damn it. Elderma. And
Very well done, Steve. That was fantastic.
That is our blooper reel. The problem was yes, we do live near Miramar. Something the chat room asked, and we're also in a major throughput. That's an aeronautic term. It's a throughput.
We live less than a quarter mile from I-5 in California.
No. Yes, we do. Gabrielle, no. I have no controlled substances whatsoever during the recording of an audiobook. Tonight, however, there's going to be a whole bunch because I had a book come out and
got a book about?
Stuff's going to get nutty.
Yeah.
Stuff's going to get nutty tonight.
Yeah.
I'm glad. Nice try, Garrett.
Thank
Thank
you
you. I'm
so
glad you guys
much,
like
Iceberg.
Steve. And you guys just, how about a round of applause? Let me see some clap icons in the chat room.
Or drink icons.
Just for Steve to put that together, that takes a significant amount of time. And also, I'm pretty sure that's Steve having to just, at some point, doing this for literally 15 hours a day, cutting through all of my just yelling. He's got to be like, I need a break. I'm going to take a break by listening to Mauro Scott's voice and then send him this audio file, which makes him look idiotic and everything balances out.
So I have one additional secret, which we're not releasing yet because it's too soon. But Steve and I have a absolute uniform favorite character in the Stone Wolves, and you haven't heard that yet. So in a future Sigler in Place, not on this podcast, not on the Q&A podcast, it's not going to be in the podcast feed, but it'll be in the weekly live stream. We will share that voice and tell you why it's our favorite. And I bet he probably has a handful of bloopers that are about
So
that.
going back to, yes, there's a filter on every voice, and then for some characters, I try to have a different cadence. You can tell that with the Sklorno. I go to my falsetto, I introduce a different cadence, and there's an alien way of speech. Quith warriors have an alien way of speech. Quith leaders is not quite as dramatic. Quith workers is a very, very subservient and extraordinarily polite pattern of speech, sort of British butler, but with an American accent. So there's something a little bit different for all the different races. So hopefully if I make it a little bit different with speed, with tone, with intensity, then once Steve applies the filter onto it, it really starts to become its own, this species sounds like this, and still offering me some flexibility to create different characters.
And I will say, many, 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 many of you have written in and said, wait a minute, is Bumberpuff a William Shatner tribute?
yes.
So he also does that. He looks
right, Mike.
at iconic voices that you will know. What you talking about, Willis? Or something like that. He doesn't use that one. And uses that as the kickoff point to do his work
It's a
so
button,
that you sort of, we call it a button, but you sort of see that. And I will also say, Wesley, thank you for joining. I saw your question right before we started, but you didn't attach anything to that email, so I didn't add it. If you would, we will let you know what we think.
Yeah.
But there's no attachment there.
Let's get to the next one.
Ronnie Howard asked, Ronnie Howard?
Yeah, we're buddies. We go way back. We used to hang out in Mayberry. We used to go fishing at the pond. It's pretty sweet.
I don't think that's
Like
right.
he's never heard that joke before. But good. All right, here we go.
That's true. I have a brother named Jude, so I get the joke. Okay, so Ronnie Howard asked, if you have pictures on your writing desk, what or who are they?
Oh, geez. I don't. Well, can I show him that card?
You could. Sure, if you want. I don't care.
All right, hold on. Let's see if we can pull this up. Hold on, guys.
So I'll talk to you for a few minutes. I will say a couple, 2, 3 things. If you are just
I'm
joining.
just not going to pan that one, but I will pan. Here we go. Go ahead and talk.
Oh,
Peter.
that's good. Yeah, you won't see me, but I'll be
I think
talking.
I
He's going to
got
show
all
you
kinds of
this.
cables. Let me see if I can do this.
We
you guys.
haven't actually done a tour of the office yet or the
So
house
this
yet,
is,
but we will.
Tell him this is my friend Shannon from college who died.
Yeah,
Sorry,
well, this
bummer.
is Shannon Fairlamb, and Shannon Fairlamb died of multiple reproductive cancers. She was beautiful, wonderful, absolutely gorgeous person,
That-
and one of your very best friends and first editors, right?
Match of the Battlestar Pegasus, which is a way better Battlestar. They should have fucking ditched a galactic piece of shit.
That
This
is also
is-
Tyler and Emma Sigler. Tyler, when he obviously was
nephew's
on
a beast.
Yeah, he's a beast. That
Oh,
was
there's
there it
the
is. I
goddamn picture
told
was
you.
looking for. That is a picture of my dad, Coach Sigler.
As you guys know, we got married on June 28th of last year, and that was my anniversary card to Scott, and he chose to put it up there.
Yeah, and then that, of course, is you're gonna have to repeat this, baby. It's people in podcasts. Wait, can I? Yeah.
Yeah, you're on.
So that is A&I. It's my favorite picture, was done by Bruce Press, who's our in-house photographer. He's incredible. This is the third best picture of our relationship. The other two are framed. We'll show those to you someday.
Yeah.
This is,
That's Sydney.
on the left is the Sigler household.
Oh, yeah.
That was my dad was coaching at Olivet. And that giant, this young man, this beast of a young man, if you can see here, he is the little kid on the left. And then the little kid on the right happens to be this young man.
And he's talking about the pictures in red.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And so the picture in green is Caden Sigler.
Sorry, podcast people. And then this is my amazing niece, Sydney. She is the
In
best.
college right now.
Here are those two little guys again. This
That's
is
his gorgeous mama.
the smoking hot mom back in college. What? And then we got, this is me with Mookie, my favorite pup. Down here is A&I.
Getting our wedding license. I'm holding a bouquet that my godless daughter, Monroe, made for me, and we are getting our wedding announcement. That is you on the the Throne of Bases.
Throne of Guitars. It's a Gibson Throne of Guitars. Oops, can't show that card. That card's naughty. And then so this is, and then there's Carol, and there's a wedding picture of me. Over here is my nephew and his fiance. And anyway, so it's just that's what I look at.
Put that back now because there's a couple of non-shareable things on a family
Couple
podcast.
of non-shareable things. There's no naked pictures of me. If there were, 3/4 chub. All right, let's go.
So I will also say this. One of the things we have planned for some time in the future on
Keep
Sigler
talking,
Place,
Brian. I'll show you the bases right now. Let's go.
We have on Sigler in Place is that we will do a tour of some of the house and such like that. We haven't done it yet, and I need to clean up the house before we do it, but we will do it.
Yeah, and Brian, that will be a special episode of Sigler in Place. We'll show off half of the bases, do a second episode with half the bases. It'll basically be you and me and 3 other junkies watching that episode, but it'll be super fun. All right, let's go.
Okay, James Hugglestone asks, I have a couple of questions on the gangster. Mm-hmm. 1, is Quentin a savior?
No.
2, you mentioned previously that Quyth females have stages of maturity and maybe levels of life-like metamorphosis. Obviously, we know Greedock is now a female, but was the grub from Alone and the queen from Nocturnal also?
Wait, was that our dogs barking?
I think it's dogs out there barking.
Okay. Next question. Let's go. Next question.
Sorry. Let's see. Okay, Jason Lombardo asked a question on the last Q&A, and then he says, then he re-asked. He says, like, Scott has been writing the GFL for 40 years. I want to know the final reading order of this series in Scott's own mind, because when book 8 comes out, I'm going to reread every single thing in the series.
Transformer Swan asks, is the Stone Wolves available on audiobook yet? What? There it is.
What?
How do you like that? #1 new release space opera. Scott Sigler, J.C. Hutchins' Stone Wolves, available on Audible and on Amazon in audiobook. You're welcome. Enjoy.
If you want to check out that whatever new the second #2 Star Wars thing is.
It's the thing. It's a little thing. They're cute. They're cute kids. I love them. They're very cute. I missed a question.
What is the reading order for the GFL?
Oh my God. I believe if we can't show this in the chat room. John, could you maybe paste the reading order in, and then I'll copy it and put it in for YouTube and Facebook and everything else. But we have a very specific reading order. Yeah, babe.
I think one of the big questions that he's asking is Gangster or Stone Wolves first.
The Champion, Stone Wolves, the Gangster. GFL Book 5, the Stone Wolves, GFL Book 6. And John will, Debrielle Carr asks, pardon me, I got champagne burps. That's how much of a swaggery, manly man I am. She asks, how do I get my name in a novel? The only way to do it now is you must get a Siglerism tattoo and send us a picture of the tattoo. That is a tall order. That is a bold claim. That is much to ask of a fan, and yet I ask it because we are so backlogged. There's like 50 tattooed people who are waiting to get their name in a book. That is the only way to do it. And when you do it, I cannot promise you that it will be a prompt. It could be 5 or 6 years. We're very backed up. Also, please don't try and send me a picture of a fish because you like rainbow trout and say, it's like Danny the Lundy's fish he slaps people with. No, it's got to be an actual Siglerism tattoo. However, if you have questions of what constitutes that before you go under the needle, you can send those questions to info@emptyset.com. Mm-hmm. We will answer them. I will work closely with you to provide you the consultancy you need to be successful in life.
So yes. Brian Jacob asks, excuse me, if Brian Jacob asks, okay. You're right, Chris. I'm going to say it a lot. Spoiler. For the Gangster. Mm-hmm. Loved the reveal that Q's father was on the PUV James Keeling.
Yeah.
But had a theory / semi-question about his identity.
Oh, let's get into that. Here we go.
Is it possible that Q's dad is connected to the Givers that were traveling around sharing faster than light technology? I remember something along the lines of that not much was known about the Givers, but normally in the past when information on the various races was shared, it connected to story points / character interactions later. However, the Givers haven't connected to anyone yet.
I will say no, not connected with the Givers. Yes, very involved with the PV James Keeling, aka the Crypt, and you're just frankly going to have to wait for that until I get the Crypt book 1 and 2, possibly other Crypt books out. And even then, I will not promise you that you will be able to figure it out. But that will be one of the for people who are just discovering me from the Crypt series by itself. And A and I talk about this a lot. We think it'll be very popular. I think it'll bring a lot of new readers to the Siglerverse. There are so many Easter eggs.
Just hang tight, you guys. You did it.
I sorry. I'm not supposed to move the screens because we lose.
Just hang tight. We'll get it.
But for the let's continue with the podcast people and see if this comes back on.
Yeah.
If not, I'll go get it. The stories that you have read so far all factor in heavily to
push it back.
Okay, let's try that. The stories you read they all figure into the Siglerverse. It's all leading up to everything that happens in the Crypt. It's going to be great. I'm going to go fix this camera right now. Baby, basically give them the nutshell that people who read the Crypt won't get all the Easter eggs, but the people who are doing what they're doing now.
Gotcha. Yeah. So as you guys all know, the Siglerverse. Do you want to switch to this camera? Can you do that?
It's also dead.
Okay.
I gotta
see.
fix that. Live TV.
Live TV, you guys. Let's do it live. So as you guys all know, the Siglerverse is connected. The Siglerverse is connected in more ways than we see in writing right now. So even if you speculate, as Brian did, and not necessarily poorly, there's a lot of stuff there. There we go. We're back. Okay. You do get some information, but you need time and energy and more pieces to bring them all in together. So I actually already deleted that question because that's how I do. He says, is it possible that Q's dad was connected to the Givers? The Givers you hear about in the GFL, Quentin's dad you hear about just recently in the GFL. Is it possible? It's always possible. But he'll take over now. Thank goodness.
So I can't tell you what's going to happen. Otherwise, you wouldn't buy the goddamn books. But I will say that everything, all of these hints, all of these connections, they're all going to pan out at some point. Hopefully, you live long enough to hear how they all pan out. But I'm very excited for the Crypt. I got a lot of work to do before I get to it. Can't wait. Next question.
This is a yes or no question if you're willing to do it.
Let's do it.
Nathan Harris asks, Mommy from Nocturnal and Quith Female seem to have a lot of similarities. Are they related in any way?
None.
Great.
Zero. Completely different species. Next.
Terrific. Jared Miller asks, on last week's Q&A, Scott made reference to deleted scenes that he had to remove during the editing process. What is the scene you had to remove that was the hardest to cut? And if you didn't have so many other books on tap, would you ever consider offering up a collection of such deleted scenes?
I don't think so. I will say that I know that Brandon Sanderson just recently hired... The dude is made of money, frankly, at this point. He hired an audiobook narrator to read an old version of one of his books, and he put it up for free on...
Oh, sorry, honey.
He put it up for free on YouTube because he's that much of a cool dude and just wants to entertain his fans. I don't think that's something you'll see from us. I don't think you'll ever see anything where I'm going to post cut scenes in any way because the scenes were cut for a reason. And then the amount of stitching that I do and then that John Viscar has to go in after the fact and like make sure, okay, well, you cut this. Now this is broken. This doesn't work, etc. It's just the amount of work you guys don't see is significant. The amount of words get cut. Basically, when you read a 100,000 word novel of mine, I'm not being flippant when I say there's probably 125,000 words that get cut or rewritten. So you will not see those stuff because they're not good enough for you. That's, I'm not blowing sunshine up your ass, but your time and your money are extraordinarily valuable to us. We're not going to give you shoddy crap that doesn't make sense. Maybe someday there'll be some crazy cutscene where I cut it whole cloth and want to put it back in, but right now, no.
I will also add this. There are some scenes that are so good and so big, and there's a specific one I've mentioned already in Pandemic, is it?
Okay.
With Margot and Otto's relationship that changed so significantly. And it's the dream sequence. If you've read that book, you see that there's a dream sequence with a primary character from Infected, and that whole sequence was written with not Perry Dawsey in it. And it's a wholly different and beautiful thing, but it just didn't work. Like the mechanics worked, the beauty of a heartbreaking conversation worked, but that conversation didn't work. And rightfully so. That's why he has editors. That's why he has John Viscara. That's why he has people who will tell him the hard things. Like, I see what you're doing. It doesn't quite get together. And we talk about it a lot with the secret agents who are about military processes or weapons or trucks and tanks and stuff. That's easy to understand. Oh, that's not how a Glock works. But sometimes the same thing happens, and that's not how a heartbreak works, or that's not how a marriage works, or that's not how a parenting works. And he has to do the same thing. And I don't think it would fit. I don't think it would work. You'd be like, this doesn't sound like Margot. This doesn't sound like Perry. This doesn't sound like that's what would happen. So we don't do that.
I will say this will move on. John Viscar in the chat room says he has a favorite cutscene that he's really bummed didn't make the cut. So we will consider that scene only as a podcast special thing at another time. Next, let's go lightning round.
Sure.
We got 20 minutes.
Lightning round. Okay, well, one more because I love this.
Okay.
Robert Gelb, congratulations to you and Christine. I know it's very late. My understanding is that the Quith Concordia is one of the very few places that Creterakians do not control. Mm-hmm. Why didn't Becca just stick to Quith Concordia in her media efforts to raise awareness that Quentin was being held by Creterakians?
It's complicated. The Quith Concordia does not control any of the orbiting stations. So OS 1, 2, and 3, they do not control. They control all or large swaths of the Quith planets. What the Creterakians found militarily was they could use their swarm massive ablation loss tactics to take over large parts of Quith planets. What they could not do was find a way to take out the orbital stations, because the orbital stations were perfectly willing to seal up the hatches and nuke large sections to deny the Creterakians access. And the Creterakians quickly came to realize that these crazy motherfuckers named Ice Cube will blow up the entire orbital station rather than give up their control and their freedom. And at that point, the Creterakians are like, well, this isn't worth it. We're like, you'll see more about the Creterakian method of warfare and mentality in book 7 and 8. Mm-hmm. But in a nutshell, they were like, this is just wasting lives for no purpose and wasting resources for no purpose. And they gave up.
Which is wonderful because on Earth, we often sacrifice lives and resources.
Costa Rica in the house. Andres. Andres Viad. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Welcome, everybody in the chat room on YouTube. Give Andres a big welcome. We're happy to have you. Welcome, and we hope you're enjoying this. Also, spoiler alert, everything you'll see from this point on is a spoiler for all of our books. So feel free to wave and tap out. All good. Next question.
Kelly Preson asks, she says, I came across They say, I came across a YouTube video last year that compared sizes of several dozen popular science fiction spacecraft, including the few puny human jalopies. My favorite thing all day. Mm-hmm. She does share the link, which I'll put in the chat room, but she says, my question is, where would these Siglerverse crafts wedge in between on that scale? Where does the crypt fit?
The crypt is not that big. The crypt is the basis for the crypt is the USS Virginia. You guys can look that up, but that is the general scope of it. It's going to be a little bit more swollen. But the general concept right now, we're working on the crypt at somewhere. I'm working with Chris Grawl on this at a crew of roughly crew and officers 80 to 90. And the fighters, pilots, and crew and support personnel roughly 50, and then there'll be roughly we're still puzzling this out, but probably somewhere in the vicinity of 50 to 100 Marines. It's a very modular strategy, so that when the crypt comes back to port, they take out these heavy armament units and bring in infiltration units and go back on the next mission. So you're looking at about 200. Next one.
What about the touchback?
The touchback is much bigger than the crypt. The touchback is going to be, say, if you were to take a couple of oil tankers, probably 3 abreast, and probably I think they only need to go 2 or 3 long. So there's enough room to fit in a full regulation football field, and then have basically one football field for ship, an actual football field, and another football field behind it for engines and engineering support. That's what you're looking at. Okay.
And the Roctopi ship from Earth Core.
That's the beast. That is
That's not messing around.
over 5 miles long. And this is a funny story. 5 miles long, 3.5 miles wide. And when I made this, I specifically went searching for all the science fiction I knew to try and make the biggest ship ever. Turns out there's a whole lot of science fiction I didn't know about, which I learned when I watched that video and other sources of information. Find out like it's a big ship. It's not the biggest ship, but it's a really big ship.
And I have put that link, that YouTube link, in the chat room for the live stream, and I will put it in the post.
It's one of my
for
favorite
our
videos.
Q&As.
I love it so much.
I have watched it 16 times, and I'm not this guy. I don't
my God.
love spaceships, and it's just so beautifully done.
Yes,
and you
Modine.
should watch
Big
it
girl.
if you haven't done
Big girl.
it.
All right, let's go.
James Ray says, "Thank you for your books. They've gotten my family through tough times
Oh
by
my God.
providing
We love to hear that.
much needed distractions with intriguing stories during this pandemic. I honestly can't believe how accurately Pandemic predicted the public reaction to
It's
COVID."
crazy.
Hang on, let me finish.
Okay.
On to my question.
Yep.
Oh, no, not on to my question. That's not about COVID.
I would love. We haven't had a chance to talk about this yet.
A lot.
I threw this up on Instagram and Facebook, but if you guys have a chance to go back and reread Pandemic, and look at also the tweets and the text messages between people, and then if you go in and look at the flabbergasted reaction of a very Republican conservative administration, which is and religious administration, which is in Pandemic, they are like, in a nutshell, they're like, but we have the cure. All they have to do is drink this thing, and they won't drink it. And people in the book are flabbergasted, but I have been spooked out to the gills. It's something I wrote in 2013, published in 2015, basically reads like it was the internet today when you read about people tweeting back and forth. It's verbatim. It's 5 and 6 years ahead of its time, and it's verbatim. If you get a chance, go read it. If you have the hardcover, flip through it, or the Kindle book, flip through it. Look for the Twitter comments. It's bonkers how close it is to what is happening now. And sadly, I knew this was going to happen. I'm not trying to be like a prognosticator. I knew this was going to happen.
But you did the work.
I could see where things are going. And I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what? When we get a really bad disease and we have a cure for it, it's going to get politicized, it's going to get radicalized, and there are going to be people, smart people that you love in your family, so to speak, who will not take the medicine that would keep them fucking alive and keep the pathogen from spreading. That's the biggest thing you got out of
And mutating.
Pandemic. The whole plot is based around the pathogen spreading because people won't take the inoculant and things mutating because there is a larger body of biological environment for them in which to replicate and mutate. It's really crazy.
And the weird thing for me as a medicinal chemist, which is about how drugs work or chemicals work in the body. That was my education. The thing that I don't get is this, no, it's my body, my choice. I'm like, yeah, you want your body to have literally every tool in its tool chest. And the thing about a coronavirus is any coronavirus vaccine may, not does, definitely not does, but may help you with other things. Why wouldn't you? I don't understand it all. I'm just going to move on.
I'm going to answer Trent's question. Trent Lewis asks, Scott, did you always plan to do that to Greedock, or was part of the evolution of the story? Bro, it's seated in the rookie. It's the building blocks of that are seated in the rookie. And when you find, and that was to set up so you wouldn't think it was ridiculous when you read the part about sequential hermaphroditism, which I think is in the All Pro. And so, yeah, there's a lot of discovery in the GFL series, but the vast majority of it I would say, has been planned since I was 19. So
I have a very quick rapid fire question from our friend
Hit
Larry
it.
Kinney.
Yep.
Is the Stone Wolves going to be a graphic audio deal? Yes.
What does
We
that
have
mean?
a- we have
I
a-
love those guys, man. They're the
Yeah,
best.
they're terrific.
They're
They
the
are
best.
so good to us. They are such lovely people. In case you don't know this, but you love graphic audio, they're a very tiny team, and they have been working together for years. And we only found that out recently. So they're a lot like us. And yes, graphic audio has a first look deal for all the GFL books, no matter what their name is, no matter what, the name of the book is, no matter if they're a novel or a novella. They don't have to choose them all, but so far they've chosen them all. So yes is the answer. And
So-
if you like, sorry, go ahead. You were going to.
I'm just going to say these guys are so friggin' cool that we had to deal with them for Earth Core.
Oh, I love that you're going to tell this. It's
And-
such a nice thing.
And they got ready to put an Earth Core right about the time that Mount Fitzroy was coming out. And part of our strategy, A and I, of course, are a two-person mom and pop shop with some incredible, wonderful, hardworking, talented people as contractors as part of the family. Basically, it's A and I. So we had spent 6 years working on the Mount Fitzroy deal. To try to make Mount Fitzroy become an Audible book so that they would put their massive marketing power behind Mount Fitzroy and sell it as book 2 of a series so that people would go buy Earth Core, which is all us, and that is the biggest seller we've had, and it's got the biggest royalty, and it's great. Graphic Audio put out their adaptation of Earth Core, and it was out at the same time Mount Fitzroy is going to come out, and we said, hey, would you guys put that on hold, because we don't want people to go to Audible learning about me for the first time, finding Earth Core, and we
Getting your
we actually got to talk
books,
about this after. It's a little confusing to me.
Yeah.
But in a nutshell, they put the whole product, they put the whole project on hold for us for a while so that we could benefit from all the work we put in. It was very nice of them,
Yeah.
and we appreciate it.
So here's the thing. Scott is on the graphic audio side. If you actually want to hear these, you can probably buy them there. What we asked for was, can you please take it down? Because this was our goal, to have Fitzroy kind of raise the tide of Earth Core. And they were like, yeah, let me check.
I think they were done with it too. It was ridiculous.
Oh, yeah,
Very nice.
It was in production. It was in process. And it took literally 2 days for them to be like, okay, cool. Can we get this? Like, is this the adjustment we can make? And we made it, and it's lovely, and they're really terrific people.
Yeah.
Scott Brzezowski asks, my question, punch drive, gravity wells. How do they work?
Well, get the stone wolves. I'm not
Oh,
being,
that's a good question.
I'm
Oh,
not
that's a
being
good
flippant
answer.
at all.
Yeah,
There
no,
is
no.
the only explanation you will get for how they work is in the stone wolves, and I cannot say this. I cannot underestimate. There are going to be 8 novels in the GFL series. You do not need to read any of the novellas except for the Stone Wolves. There is stuff in the Stone Wolves that happens that you will need to read when you get to GFL Book 8 when things get nutty. So that is my answer to you. So you at very least want to read books 1 through 8 in the Stone Wolves. Yeah.
Our good, gracious, wonderful friend
Hey,
and
JC Hutchins in the
co-author of
house.
the Stone Wolves is here in that chat room. So if you are watching live, not listening to the podcast, JC Hutchins, who has...
Oh, shit. I think I just blocked JC Hutchins.
Oh, my goodness.
God
Figure
damn it.
that out. What?
Shit.
Can you figure out? I'll just talk while we do this.
Hutch, if you're watching, I just went to respond to you and I fucking blocked you because I can't figure out technology. So, talk for a second. Let me see if I
Okay, so
figure
I'm going
this
to talk
out.
for a little while. As you guys
Shit.
know, JC, I'll go back a little ways. If you only know
God
Scott
damn
from
it.
Audible, you may not know Scott from podcasts. He started a podcast in 2005, and JC Hutchins started a beautiful podcast called The Seventh Son not too long after that. And they had a rivalry for ages in the in the new age of the podcast fiction thing. And they traded back and forth, and there are Easter eggs in JC Hutchins books to Scott Sigler books and vice versa. Since he accidentally blocked him, I will say go to jchutchins.net if you want to read the Seventh Son series, which
I
want to
cannot
read the Seventh
fucking
Son
believe
series.
I just did that.
Do
I'm
that.
very
keep,
upset.
Keep looking for a second. I will also say this. JC Hutchins has a terrific family, a terrific career, everything else, and he has chosen not to be on social media because social media is a dumpster fire. So I will say it again. You go to jchutchins.net and you can find out a lot more about his books. I cannot recommend the Seventh Son series enough. I will also
really
say,
good.
if you read or loved Use Social Networking that Scott wrote, that is completely in J.C. Hutchins' world. That is in J.C. Hutchins' Seventh Son or universe or whatever, the Hutchverse. I don't know what that would be called. So he's working on that. So sorry, Hutch. I know you're there
Hutch.
and I love you.
Thanks, Hutch.
We screwed
Sorry,
that
Hutch.
And
All right, we can't spend forever in this. Go
but go
keep
ahead
asking,
if you want.
Keep asking questions while I try to figure this out.
Jonathan Seidman says, will we see any more Patrick O'Doyle and Bertha Lybrand?
Absolutely, you will. I don't know when I will get to it, but I will do the best. You know, we're going to switch to this camera so it looks like I'm looking at the camera while I'm actually trying to read and figure out how to get Hutch unblocked. But yes, we I don't know how much to say at this point because I have overpromised so many things to you guys, and I don't want to do that anymore. We've worked an enormous amount of hours to try and deliver on the things that we promised, and we're
working on it.
The end of that mission is the crypt, and when we get the crypt book 1 and 2 out, we will have delivered on all of the promises we made to all you guys.
Yep.
And
we're
then
there.
we have plans for other things, but we can't talk about them right now because I have learned to stop promising shit.
We are learning. We want to do all the things, but we're only human. So I will also, Maria says she can help with the unblocking. Hang one sec. I'm just going to give this to you while you do it.
All right. Thanks, Maria. It's Restream.io. All right, here we go.
So I will also ask if this is a yes or no question. Jonathan Simon also asks, spoiler alert, he says that, Chris, not me, were the Roctopi under Mount Fitzroy the last of their species?
Oh my God. Come on, man. I got to ask you. Have you read all the GFL? Have you read all the GFL?
Hi, Danny.
Since we're a spoiler alert, the answer is no. No. They are not the last of their species. I will let the chat room take care of this. Chat room justice. I will let the chat take care of this, but you will see them again in GFL Book 8.
All righty. Okay. Andy Dane says, as we've now found out the origin of Greedock's The Splithead title, what was here before he was a Splithead?
Oh my gosh.
Unnamed.
John Viscara, if you're in the house, I think he may have had a name, but I don't quite recall what it is. So I'm going to try this dashboard shit over here.
Secondary question. Does this mean that
it didn't
Quith
work.
can change their names if it no longer applies?
Okay. All right. This is some football shit going down right here. All right. So I'm going to work. Maria's trying to help us with the unblocking thing, which I swear to God, I already know I will never live this down.
I'm glad I didn't do it because I do a whole bunch of stupid shit.
I just had my co-author for my new book show up unannounced to chat and hang out with everybody, and I accidentally blocked him.
Who doesn't participate in social media still joined. Yes!
If I wrote this in a book, and John Viscara go, that's unrealistic.
It's not going to work.
You can't put that in a book. Okay, what was the question? Oh, you can't give yourself a nickname. Part of the, thank you, Clover, part of the point of the nicknames, and of course this is sports-based, and gangster-based. People in sports, you don't get to give yourself a nickname. It's not how it works. When you are a made guy or on your way being a made person, you don't get to call yourself. You know what I think? Scott the smell good Sigler is a great gangster name. I want to be Scott the Smell Good. You know, like, you know what? It's not that you don't smell good, but we think we think you're a little bit, you know, Scott the Shrinky. From now on, you're the Shrinky. Hey, everybody, welcome the Shrinky to the club. And then you are the Shrinky for the rest of your life. And that is it. So, no, he did not, Greedock did not get to give himself that nickname. That nickname was given to him by his organization. And that is the way it works for all Quith. You do not give yourself a nickname.
Alrighty then. Okay, how are you doing?
I'm not doing well. I can't believe it. And Maria said she was going to help us, and then there's been
nothing.
No text from Maria. Thank you, Maria.
Okay, so Nathan Harris. Oh, I already did that. I didn't realize that I hadn't deleted it. Let me do that.
We're going to go a little bit longer than 90 minutes, just because we've screwed this up.
Mike Jant says, I have always liked Scott's take on aliens. It seems he's really taken the time to think about their environments and then pick up elements from real animals that would most likely develop within those environments.
Thank you, sir.
Where did the idea for the Gibblejewants? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
I'll cover it
we might have
quickly.
answered that, but hang on. Let me ask the rest of the question in case. And accompanying transformation come from? Is there any real world basis for this, or is it just another example of Scott has some real crazy ideas in that head of his? The Gangster was awesome. and I cannot wait to read to the next book.
Gibble Jouance is a combination of a bee, the royal jelly concept of bee, where they can select a female to become a queen instead of become a worker. And it is a combination with that and sequential hermaphroditism, so clownfish and other species which go through the process of sequential hermaphroditism. So it is a hormonally triggered sequential hermaphroditism selection.
Ryan Winkleman asks, is Tara the Freak was the last of his egg. So was he castrated or is he still fertile?
Oh, Tara the Freak, no. There's definitely... just because you make it out of the egg with your junk intact doesn't mean that the Quith culture is going to allow you to walk around with big swinging junk. It's not the way it works. It is not a culture that any human anywhere would ever find to be acceptable. That's basically it.
Kurt asks, with these lines of power that Q, quote, and parenthesis, and his dad see, is there any chance that they are descendants of Donnie Darko of the Middlesex, Virginia Darkos?
No.
Have you seen that movie?
Yes.
Oh, good. I wasn't even sure if you'd seen that movie.
Yes, I have, and the answer is no.
My question, Eric Warnock says, my question may have been asked and answered before, but I have never heard it. Will there ever be a sequel to Nocturnal? I'd love to hear more about Brian and Pookie.
I'll make this as short as possible. That is one of the things that I will not promise you because I am still spending the past friggin' 10 years delivering on shit I promised I couldn't deliver. My vision for Nocturnal, which I may never get to, is 3 sequels, 1 graphic novel, 1 prequel, and if all went well, a video game, all of which would factor into the timeline. But if you see a sequel, if you see Nocturnal 2, get drunk and enjoy it because that's probably going to be the last one you see.
Dirk Peter Smith, our good friend in the Netherlands, asks, is there, if you could pick 3 characters from the Siglerverse and write a story where they get together, who would you pick right now and what would that story be about?
3.
Anybody in the Siglerverse.
I'm still distracted by the fact that I fucking blocked J.C. Hutchins.
I know, it's rough. It's very rough. It's very rough.
Ask me the question again.
Oh, shit. If you could pick 3 characters from the Siglerverse and write a story where they get together in that story, who would you pick and what would the story be about? Choosing right now.
I guess, of course, Pookie Chang has to be in the mix because he's Pookie Chang. He's the person I want to be is Pookie Chang. So I'd definitely go with Pookie Chang. I think I would go with old school Greed Out the Splithead because he was the bad guy. But man, was he efficient. He was efficient as all get out. He brooked no bunk from people who gave him the back talk. No back talk to Greed Out the Splithead. So we have Pookie. I'll go with Greed Out the Splithead, and I'm probably going to throw Denver in there because I think that'd be a pretty good combo.
Blah, 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 blah.
There's 3 very different personalities. Put them in the mix, see what happens.
Let's see. Joseph Stronger said, in the new book 1 of The Crypt, will we see a similar format to the original, i.e. a collection of short stories about the different members of the crew, or will the high concept be different?
We have discussed this in-house many times, and what we are going with is, I'll make this as fast as possible. Crypt Book 1, I really enjoyed. It was a photo inverse of Lost. In Lost, you had all these people get to the island and not know how they got there, and you would gradually get their backstories. I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we got all of the reasons they had to go to the island, except we don't know what the island is. So that is what book 0 of the Crypt Crew Stories was meant to be. How do all of these disparate people wind up getting put on this ship that everybody knows is bad, but you don't get to know what the ship is or why it's bad? That was the gist of that. What we have figured out is A and I have done a lot of strategy sessions trying to figure out how to best entertain people and how to make the most money from the world of science fiction books, is you're going to see book 1 is called Shakedown. Spoiler alert, book 1 will be Shakedown. You're going to get crew stories threaded throughout the book except Captain Travis Ellis on trial and then Captain Travis Ellis showing up to the crypt are probably going to be chapters 1 and 2. So you get a sense of that mystery, a sense of that reveal, and then that ship is sent right out. The crew is not integrated. The crew is not properly trained. No one is prepared for what is about to happen. And what is about to happen Let's go. What is about to happen is an enormous amount of psychopaths doing psychopathic thing, blood, hallucinations, metaphysical crap, and all kinds of dream world shit going down. And then as we go through it, you'll start to meet the crew. And then gradually, threaded throughout books 1, 2, 3, and 4, you will start to see those backstories of the crew and how they got there. So this is, I'll finish this up by saying, this is a next level challenge to my writing skill. There are authors who have done this. Stephen King is one of them, who can actually kill a character in chapter 1, then bring back that character in flashbacks in later chapters, still provide a sense of mystery as to how the dead character influences other characters and how it will change the plot. So I haven't figured it out yet, but it's basically, the Starship Enterprise populated by Jesse Pinkman and a lot of really bad people doing an enormous amount of meth.
I would go where Jesse Pinkman is. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not. I will also say in the chat room tonight, if you're listening to the podcast, that's the live chat room on SIGLERinPLACE on Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Modine Gunch says she would have Ma Tweety, Pookie, and I don't know. I can answer that for you. My choice would be Ma Tweety, Pookie, and Jenny Two Shoes.
Oh,
Or the Rosalind Franklin. Probably the Rosalind Franklin. Now that I say that out loud. Probably the Rosalind Franklin.
But do you see blacklist on here?
No.
Filtering?
Filtering, maybe. Yeah, do that. So I think that would be great. And if you guys are unfamiliar with the Rosalind Franklin, that is a sort of a sentient...
Oh, shit.
Yes,
we got, what do you think? What would Hutch's name be in
Just
here?
search Hutch.
Hutch is...
Down at the bottom, down at the bottom,
Hutch
down at the bottom.
Hutch has gone to bed. Oh, there he is.
Yay! We did it.
Hutch, my man.
We're going to text you after.
If you're still out there, feel free to pop into the chat room.
Oh, my goodness.
Because holy crap, did I fuck that up.
Oh, my goodness.
This is a big one, Elizabeth. This is a big one. Okay, next question, baby girl.
All right. Scott Miller says, this is a Earth Core Mount Fitzroy question. Are the cool suits used in the No, it isn't. Are the cool suits used in the GFL era descendants of the Earth-based company that manufactured suits during the Mount Fitzroy era, or did Angus share their design with his new travel companions?
Hutch is back in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody, please give J.C. Hutchins, co-author of The Stone Wolves, a big...
Thank you so much for staying the course, my love. Oh, my goodness.
A big welcome in the chat room. Everybody say hi to J.C. Hutchins. Sorry, Hutch.
All of the things
but you know what, Hutch? You've known me for a lot, 15 years. I'm sure you're not surprised by any of this.
Everything I said while Hutch was not reinstated still stands. Go to jchutchins.net. Check out every story there. Absolutely start with the Seven Sun series. You will see relationships to youth social networking, among other things in the Siglerverse, and it's all beautiful, wonderful, and you should do it.
Maria, you did not solve the problem, but you did sleep at a Holiday Inn Express last night, so you got that going for you.
Which is nice.
Next one. Let's go.
Let's see. You didn't answer are the cool suits used in the GFL era? Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. You will find a brand of the cool suit in the embedded technology that is the suits in the GFL. Good.
Jared Miller asks, oh no, I already asked that. Sorry. I have trouble remembering to delete things.
Oh, nice. Ollie Kirby's on. We got a couple people on LinkedIn. That's kind of fun. It took me a while to get that hooked up, but welcome.
Jeff Eckelberg asks, another great book / podcasted story line in the can. I am now wondering if Quentin Barnes and his father and sister...
Hold on, I fucking did it again. There must be something different about... but now I know what to do. There's something different about the way the LinkedIn chat is...
Oh my God.
Yeah. I fucking booted him again.
Here's the thing. There is no...
Oh, I see the problem now. Hutch is on LinkedIn, and all of the other YouTube and Facebook, the first option is reply, and Hutch only has add block list. If you're on LinkedIn and you're on this cast, there's one option, which is suck a bag of dicks and blocking you. It's the only, but it's muscle memory now to click it, hit reply, and then reply. So Hutch, I don't know if, yes, Steve, I know you can't take me anymore. Hutch, I cannot reply to you, but Jesus, welcome. Okay, next question.
Just reply. That would be fun.
You know what I can do? I can do this. go to LinkedIn. No.
No, you can't.
No. Okay.
It's read only.
LinkedIn is very, very precious about.
Oh my gosh.
We don't let just anyone stream. Only people who are business influencers may
Just
stream.
say Hutch : and answer. Do that. I will finish this question. Jeff Ackelberg asks, another great book / podcasted story in the can. I am now wondering if Quentin Barnes and his father and his sister Janine are descendants of M. Savage.
Okay. Listen to me very carefully. In fact, let's go to Scott Cam. Listen to me very, very carefully. I cannot answer that question at this time because it would be a spoiler. But you are going to want to sequester yourself for some time to listen to GFL Book 7 and Book 8. That's all I can say at this time.
Dot Brensilber asks, give a shout out to a fellow author.
To Dot Brandsilver?
No, that's who asked it.
So
Dot
like,
Brensilver asked, give a shout out to another. I would suggest the one you blocked.
I will give a shout out to J.C. Hutchins. J.C. Hutchins, the author of The Stone Wolves. Let's give a shout out to J.C. Hutchins, author of The Stone Wolves. Also in my audiobook right now are Joe Abercrombie and Nicholas Smith.
Sansbury Smith.
La Champagne. Nicholas Sansbury Smith, Joe Abercrombie, two of my favorite jams. All their books dropped yesterday along with the Stone Wolves. It's kind of great. All right, let's go.
Paul Waldron asks, where do you come up with the names for characters and items in the Siglerverse? So I know I'm going to spell these words wrong as I listen, not read.
Cool.
But Gibbeljawans? The Toltefine? Does he just randomly type letters on the keyboard and see what comes up?
There's literally a process to this. What you may find if you ever decide you want to make up names of people. So you put together names, usually 2 to 3, sometimes 4 syllables, first name and last name. What you will find is, in this interconnected world, you will say Shmugot, and you will Google that, and you'll be like, what the fuck? There's a guy named Shmugot. What? There's a guy named Shmugot. And when you are coming up with literally thousands of names, you kind of go through everybody in high school and mixtures of that, everybody in college. Then you start going through the phone book, and then you start to go, and then you start thinking, well, I can do this. And it turns out there are names for those things. And sometimes the names you make up turn out to be words that are in Urban Dictionary, and they're not good. They're not very good at all. So you start to look for, how do I find a name that's not Googleable, which is more of a challenge than you think? And then you start thinking, let me come up with a word that's not Googleable, also more of a challenge than you think. So the process is, I slap together a few syllables, I Google it, and it has to come up. There has to be nothing even close to it for me to pick it as a name for a thing in this, for an item in the Siglerverse.
And even now, things get a little bit weird because the word he chose, Shmugot? Shmugot. Last week on the other Q&A, I mentioned that I'm a big fan of Richard Kadri, and he has something in his Sandman Slim that's called the Shogot. And so for me, when he said Shmugot...
Are you kidding me?
No, not
See,
at all.
that's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. So when he said Shmugot, I was like, no,
Oh,
you can't use that. Can't use that.
This one.
No, we have to do one before that. It was my next question anyway, Sean, but I appreciate the help. Sean...
You did not, John Viscara, know a guy named Sotweed Schnibble. No, you did not. Stop it.
I absolutely knew a guy in college named Timex Nasty.
That's my poor name.
He changed his name to Timex Nasty, but it was still his actual name. Sean Dyer asked, without necessarily naming them, are there any books you didn't enjoy the first time through and went back later just to see if you feel the same way?
Oh, you mean reading them?
Reading them twice.
Oh my God. Let's start with Dune. Dune, I didn't make it through the first 3 chapters. And I was like, of course, I was a very young lad, but I was like, this is very stupid. This doesn't make any sense. And I came back and reread it. I think I read it the first time I was in the 6th grade. And I read it again when I was 18. And it was this giant scope shift of life awareness to read when you're 18. I read it again when I was, 26. And I think again when I was 30. And I read it again 2 years ago. And it is a never-ending cornucopia of fucking fantastic. So that is probably the single biggest one would be Dune. Yes.
And what's interesting about that is I've done that same book 3 times. Mm-hmm. I've never finished
Never got it?
I've never even gotten halfway through. It's not for me because it doesn't work for me.
Incredible.
I know. And I want it to be incredible. I tried watching the crummy, crazy movie because who doesn't love Sting? Could never get through it.
Sting looked good in that movie.
He
Sting
looked
was
so good in the movie.
ripped up, son.
It was looked pretty good.
See, now, you know
That's
what?
all that tangent
Let's
through got.
quick side tangent. Now, whoever the F you are, whether you're in a sitcom, you're a stand-up comic, whoever you are, you're like, okay, you're gonna be a male character in a Marvel movie. We're gonna send your ass to the gym for 6 months. Say goodbye to your family, and then the dude walks out at the end of 6 months like, and then they just rip.
I have a 17-pack.
That wasn't what it was when Dune came out. It wasn't. I watched every movie that came out when Dune came out. I know the movies. Dudes look fucking, little ripped, little buff. They didn't look like Sting. Sting had like one sliver of onion for a month before that movie. All right, let's go. Next question. Oh, wait, can we ask this one?
Good.
James Coleman asks, okay, I have an interesting question. Why, let's put the chat room. Why collaborate? I mean, you don't have to. It must always be a risk. Whose name is bigger and stuff. A lot of risk.
Great question.
So why the chance? What are the rights? Great. This is great. We'll go into this. This might take a minute, but basically, I am a student of the marketing acumen that is James Patterson. James Patterson is one of the most mathematical, analytical authors in the world. Incredibly successful, probably outside of J.K. Rowling, probably the best paid author, bar none, because he's approaching it from a business perspective. He analyzed what successful thriller books, what elements they had, basically created a mathematical formula, started writing that formula, had massive success. Then he started to look at Rodin and other authors, and like who are creators who somehow outsourced their source material and made other people create replicas of what he did so that then he could make money off the work of other people. And James Patterson is, without a doubt, one of the most brilliant marketers, authors, and business people going. So I started to study that, and I'm like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. I'm going to find other people who can write in my world, and I'm going to therefore be able to write 5 or 6 books a year instead of 2. That is how I started doing the novellas. And what I found out was apparently my butthole is that tiny and I'm too much of an anal freak to be able to let other people come in and write a thing. So I start to read, I'm like, that's not right, that's not right. And part of what wasn't right was I was asking people like Paul Cooley to write a book without telling them all of the stuff that was planned for the next 10 years. So of course, Paul Cooley's writing stuff that clashes with what's coming. And then I have to go in and fix it without telling them what's coming down the alley. I said coming down the pipe, but I said my butthole's that big, so it didn't work out. But
we did find with Hutch that there was so much less of that because Hutch is such a fan of the GFL.
So basically what happened was if I want people writing the GFL, I'm like, at one point it was like, read these 2 books, read this novella, throw me a synopsis, let's get to work. That worked pretty good. Murr Lafferty, back doing the reporting, worked out pretty good.
Matt Wallace too.
Matt Wallace. Yeah. Eventually we got to the point I'm like, go read these 5 novels and these 5 novellas, and here's the series Bible. So now I'm basically asking for 3 or 4 months of a creator's time to consume enough of the world to be able to tell a story. It became too much to ask. So Hutch was the last of the novellas. Hutch and I started this book 5 years ago, and we almost,
Oh no, you're right. 5 years ago.
5 years ago. Yeah. We almost bailed on it because it's just what I was asking of other creators was ludicrous. But Hutch was able to kind of stand in there. Mm-hmm. And I'd given up on the press. Like, I can't tell you what's coming down the pipe. I was like, here's everything. Here's how the series ends, dude. So it's basically Hutch, A, and John Viscar are the only people who know how GFL book 8 ends. And he killed it. And that's why we did the novellas. It was a business strategy to get more people involved, to create more product for you guys. I also found the good side was people like Hutch and Paul Cooley and Murr came up with angles and characters I would not have come up with, period. And I love them, so that was fun. The problem was I had to rewrite everything because I can't just let it go. Because for the GFL, it has to follow a particular source book and timeline. I cannot deviate. When you read book 8, you'll understand, but there is no margin for error.
And you guys will know this if you have been listening or reading or watching for a while. Scott has been writing the GFL series. The first iteration of the GFL series, the pieces of the characters, started when he was 6 years old. He started these ideas for characters or species, I guess. It's not characters so much at 6. So Yeah, that's a whole lifetime, dude. You don't even get your personality until you're 7. But we have his first iterations of the species that he wants to work with as a very, 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 very young human being.
Answer this when you're done. Go ahead.
And so I don't know that he didn't know what he didn't know about being able to share that. And we did have several collaborators who got to a point where he mentioned with Hutch, he and Hutch are good friends too. So they just went round and round about it. And Hutch was like, yeah, I feel like this. And I feel like this. Like this, babe? It's because I keep switching. It's not. Okay. We're like this, I think. The initial iteration of what we were having Hutch do for Empty Set changed so much, and it made the Stone Wolves happen. It made it real. That's how it happened. But Hutch knew the story so well, and Scott so well, and Scott knew Hutch so well, and they were, in real life friends and collaborators before, that I think that made it okay for Hutch to be like, yeah, I'm not doing that, or no, that's not going to happen, or this is going to take me 15 years if you want to do it this way. Let's find a better way. And Scott was like, all right, I can live without this, but I need this or whatever, and it worked a little bit better. I will also say we're not going to talk about who, and we're not going to talk about what those stories were, but there are several ideas that we had for short story collaborations, novella collaborations, that didn't pan out once we realized that Scott knows so much more about the Siglerverse than every other human on Earth, that it was unfair and it wouldn't meet the end goal.
We started writing one with Nathan Lowell, and we thought Nathan could be great at writing the gangster and the Greedock story. We got it back, and it was the pitch and the first 3 chapters were great, but it was just like, okay, this is not at all what I thought Greedock was going to be. And then we just that's when we started to close ranks. We're like, this is done, this is out. But Hutch is the only one who could deliver that particular story.
And you guys, if you haven't yet purchased the Stone Wolves or you haven't yet started it, it's so worth it.
James Coleman asks, to follow up, you're not able to collab anymore. What would your dream author to collab with? Just when I thought I was out, they put me back in. James Patterson. You put out a James Patterson book, your name is much more prominent. So basically the answer is nobody. We're for the first time in my writing career, we're turning down projects from people who want us to write a book to do a thing, and we have to say, that's a lovely offer and I would love to do it. I can't do it. As I've often said, I'm the person everybody wants to take to prom because they never say no. We started to say no a lot because we have to get the crypt out.
I was just going to ask him, Scott Sigler, why are you saying no? But he spoiled it before I could even ask. Because the crypt
Jason Brown, how dare you offend me like this? Jason Brown asked the insolent question of, so we're calling a 17-hour audiobook a novella? How dare you?
No, we're gonna be nice. Jason, you might have joined a little bit late. I actually talked about this in this episode because the novellas in the GFL talk about non-primary. They're not Quentin and they're not the Krakens. No novels have Quentin as a main character and the Krakens. It's about the Kraken's journey. And if it's not that, it's not a novel. Now, you are correct. Scott is with you. Scott would vastly prefer to call the Stone Wolves a novel.
I've been fighting for it.
He's been fighting
it's a goddamn novel, goddammit.
Spoiler alert, if you listen to the audiobook, he calls it a novel.
Real quick, James Coleman asks, so you wouldn't collaborate with J.K. Rowling or Stephen King? Yes, I would. I'm sorry.
There's a difference between a collaboration and a hire.
That would work. Most of the people I would want to collaborate with, of course, those two are effing legends, are movie people. Mm-hmm. James Cameron can phone up anytime he wants, say, I want you to do this, and I'm going to do that. And Quentin Tarantino, if that ever showed up, done, sold, I'm in, don't care, don't have to get paid, it's fine.
Well,
I have to get paid, but I will do it. Okay.
I think we're kind of done because this podcast is now too... No, not anywhere near. Right. We have like a zillion questions left. So we have so many questions. I tried to ask at least one from everybody who emailed in, but I don't think I got there. If you join us on SIGLERinPLACE every Wednesday night, not next Wednesday night, but every other Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time on twitch.tv/Scott Sigler, youtube.com/Scott Sigler, or facebook.com/Scott Sigler. We will answer all the rest of these questions, I promise.
We're going to get to them. We're going to get
We
to
have
them.
I literally have like 60 more questions.
Oh, my God.
It's so many questions.
I told Day, I'm like, no, I'll get through them all tonight. No, I'll just keep it short.
We
Keep it
can't
short.
have a 2-hour podcast, too much more. So we have to get done. So I am going to tell you that, again, we are not having a Sigler in Place next Wednesday. If you're listening to the podcast, we are not. We are going to, starting Friday morning at 6 a.m., we're going to be shipping the Gangster finally to you guys. So we're going to be a little out of pocket. You can see us a lot on social media probably. We'll be doing a handful of live vignettes. If you have any questions about your Gangster order, if you have any questions about anything else, you can email them to info@emptyset, but we'll be a little bit busy for the next couple of weeks. So in the meantime, let's see. You should always send any questions you have about anything. The best thing for you to do, info@emptyset.com, you guys.
Like this right here.
Easiest way. That always comes to me. I always get an alert. It always comes to me. We get alerts that's the best way. Don't email me on Facebook. I won't even be there till Christmas. I promise you.
No.
So in the meantime, we still need you to absolutely stay safe, you guys. We're not out yet.
We need you to stay smart.
We absolutely need you to stay science.
And
All the evidence is there.
for the love of science, go reread Pandemic and watch how laughably predictable all of this BS was. And a lot of people knew this was coming. It wasn't just me. And you know what? Won't happen if you actually stay informed, use credible sources. Scientists have PhDs for a reason. So
Check out the
stay
Stonewalls.
informed.
Check out JC Hutchins' other
Check
stuff
out
at
the Check out the
jchutchins.net.
Stonewalls. And again, I would like to publicly apologize to JC Hutchins for blocking him not once but twice during this cast. Sorry, Hutch. That's the way it goes.
We absolutely love you, Hutch. You know that. And I love that he did that accidentally. So we're going to kiss off into the ether here.
Kiss off
We
into the
love you.
sky.
You love you a lot.
That's it. Good night. Mwah!